call the meeting to order, and our invocation today is brought to us by Jason Van Devere. Jason, please.
Heavenly Father, we just come before you this
Oh.
afternoon.
Hey.
Opportunity once again to see you work through the blessing of government that you've established, Lord, the authority that you have given to men, Lord, that they might exercise it on your behalf. We pray that that would be exactly what takes place here today, Lord. We pray that you would bless this nation. Lord, you say that righteousness exalts a nation. So, Lord, we pray that, especially in this time, that you would be working. We pray for all of our leaders, especially our leaders here. We pray for wisdom. We pray for strength, even when there is pressure against them. Lord, do something for us. We pray that they would hear your voice clearly. They would be strong and do what is best, for what you desire, what is best for you. We pray for all men everywhere to come to know you, and that government would be a part of that process. We pray for our first responders. We pray especially for law enforcement in this time and the challenges that they face. Oh, we pray for your peace. Lord, may you guide this time. May your spirit be here, guiding even the affairs of government, especially the affairs of government. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. Before we get started, I wanted to recognize and acknowledge our vice chair, who's doing an amazing job, who will be chairing our meeting today, and advise the listening public of the excused absence of our friend and colleague, Commissioner Teal, who has been public about his recent loss. Unfortunately, found out on Sunday that his youngest sister, Kathleen, passed away unexpectedly. So we are taking a moment to honor him and serve in his stead. He's going to be addressing many of her affairs in the coming days, but thankful to have two friends and colleagues that do such a great job for us. And of course, as I chair 6 other boards, honored to have Commissioner Van Winkle chair this meeting today. And as a point of personal privilege, I'd love to ask for a moment of silence for Kathleen.
Please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. Now, if we could, please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Oh, is there certification of the agenda?
Yes, sir. The county attorney's office reviewed all items on the agenda. You have appropriate jurisdiction over these matters.
Okay, and are there any disclosures for any items on this agenda?
I have none.
Nor do I. That brings us to ceremonies and proclamation. And we have today a recognition of our finance team for excellence in financial reporting. Christy, are you please?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Christy Guthrie. I'm the Director of Finance for the county. Joined with me today is Jill Jantz, our Assistant Director. I wanted to share some exceptional news. We were recognized for our outstanding work in our finance department. Douglas County earned the Government Finance Officers Award, our Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. This was for fiscal year ending on 12/31 of 2024. This is the highest recognition for state and local government's financial reporting. It reflects clear, accurate, and transparent financial information for the public and for this board. This report must clearly satisfy generally accepted accounting principles and applicable legal requirements. In addition, the county received no audit findings in the same fiscal year. This is an accomplishment that speaks directly to the strength of our internal controls, our sound processes, and the diligence of our staff. It's important to note that we are also required to undergo an independent external audit each year. The Douglas County expends federal grant funds, which we are also subject to a single audit. This includes additional testing and oversight of how federal funds are managed. These audits are rigorous and thorough, and achieving clean results under both of these is no small accomplishment. I'm also pleased to report that S&P Global Rating affirmed Douglas County AAA credit rating, which is top-tier rating. They cited that the AAA credit rating is supported by Douglas County's steady and growing tax base, prudent financial and capital planning. This has enabled the county to pay for many major projects with existing revenue while maintaining the reserves in accordance with our reserve policies. Together, all of these accomplishments highlight excellent stewardship of public funds. They do not happen by chance. They are the result of highly skilled, disciplined, and dedicated team across the county that works every day to safeguard our public resources and provide our board and our community with reliable, high-quality financial information. I want to sincerely thank and congratulate the finance staff for a job well done. Join me in thanking them.
Yes, thank you. That is truly remarkable, and I think you put it best when you said excellent stewardship of the hardworking taxpayer dollars that we have been entrusted with. So thank you so much. The taxpayers of Douglas County can rest easy.
Yeah, if you don't mind, Mr. Vice Chair, I would echo those sentiments. And Christy, you and your department have done a wonderful job. And it's like any citizen in our county, and most are like this, they pay their bills on time and they do what's right when it comes to their finances and try to stay out of debt. And having a debt-free county with a AAA credit rating is just reflective of the transparency, the accountability, and the wonderful job that you all, our county manager, and this team have done with the finances. So well-deserved, and congratulations. If it's okay with you, Mr. Vice Chair, I think you deserve a round of applause.
Yeah. And if we could, it'd be wonderful to have your whole team up for a group photo
That would
to
be great.
recognize this achievement.
Good job. Congratulations. Good job. You have room for another one? Okay. Okay, sure. Congratulations. Okay, well, thank you so very much. That brings us to the consent agenda. Is there, actually, what is the? So, Mr. Vice Chair, if it pleases the board, I do have a motion to approve the requests in items A through AG of the consent agenda. Item AH is pulled. Normally, there's not on consent.
Okay,
Oh, if you want.
okay. Is there any testimony to be offered on anything on the consent agenda? Seeing none, I will second the motion. Thank you. Is there any discussion on anything on the consent agenda? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the consent agenda has been passed. That brings us to our regular agenda item. First up, we have, flipping here. Flipping. Okay, our regular agenda item. We have Thomas Kinney from Deputy Director, Emergency Management, to present on the first item on the regular agenda. Mr. Kinney.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thomas Kinney, Deputy Director, Emergency Management. Today, I'm presenting regular agenda item 4A, Payment in lieu of taxes, or PILT. Federal funding provided to fire protection districts assisting in the coverage of the Pike National Forest lands in Douglas County in the amount of $100,000. Beginning in 2002 and every year thereafter, Douglas County has provided supplemental funding for the 6 fire districts that respond to incidents in the Pike National Forest area of Douglas County. These districts are Jackson 105, Larkspur, Mountain Communities, North Fork, West Douglas, and West Metro Fire Protection Districts. The Pike National Forest manages about 140 acres of forest land within Douglas County, yet has no firefighting resources stationed in our county. We rely heavily on our fire districts represented here today to provide emergency services and rapid initial attack of wildfires within that area. Not only do these departments respond to wildfires, structure fires, and vehicle fires, but they also respond to medical emergencies, motor vehicle crashes, and search and rescue missions within the Pike. Adding to their challenges, some of these districts are staffed by volunteers. We are thankful for their help and grateful to you, commissioners, for making this funding available in the support of their missions. For 2026, the county approved $100,000 to be distributed among the 6 districts. These districts responded 172 times to the Pike National Forest in 2025. The distribution is based on a cost per call of $581. If it pleases the board, I'd like to call each of the chiefs in turn to discuss their plans for spending their PILT distributions. We'll start with Jackson 105.
Good afternoon. My name is Ben Olin. I'm the fire chief of Jackson 105. We've had an uptick in calls this year. In 2024, we ran 16 times up to the Pike, and this last year in 2025, we ran 34 times. We believe that this is an uptick in the number of campers that are up there, as well as people enjoying the National Forest, as well they should. For this year, we're going to be using our funding to complete our rope rescue complement, as we're seeing an uptick in high-angle rescues. Replace old chainsaw chains, replace an aging chainsaw, acquire some new rescue equipment and wildland equipment and fire shelters, as well as thermal imaging cameras for search and rescue and fire.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Olin. Thank you to the 105.
And Larkspur Fire.
Tim McCauley with Larkspur Fire, the fire chief. We are proud to serve the community and go up there and help Douglas County with providing service to the Pike National Forest. We were up there 9 times this year. And with that, we'll be purchasing additional PPE and fire shelters for our volunteers.
Okay, thank you, Chief Golly.
And Mountain Communities.
Good afternoon, Steve Brown, Chief Mountain Communities Fire. 51 calls this past season. 28 of those calls were fire-related or actual fires, and 23 medical calls. We stay pretty busy, all volunteers. I have about 20 volunteers on staff right now. And these calls are usually very involved, take a lot of time, a lot of personnel. We've been very fortunate to have mutual aid partners throughout the area that help us both in Teller and Douglas County. We're going to use the money this year for personal protection gear for the new wildland firefighters that I'm bringing on. And also, we need some bunker gear for the candidates going through the academy, which we run out of Teller County. And also, we're looking to replace some air packs, which are the self-contained breathing apparatus, and some hose packs to help us fight the wildfires faster. So, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief Brown.
And North Fork.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Kurt Rogers. I'm actually with Conifer Fire now. We merged with one of the surrounding districts over on our side over there. So what we're going to use our money for is personal protective equipment, both wildland and some structural stuff. And then we're also going to try and improve some of our communications equipment this year. But I also wanted to thank you guys for everything you do for emergency management. The crews that you provide us are, I just can't tell you how helpful it is to have that, and that helicopter response that you guys provide for every year is crucial to keeping everybody safe up there. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
And West Douglas.
My name is John Orvez, Fire Chief, West Douglas Fire. Thanks for making the time to hear me today. As you all know, our district and all the districts that are here today are facing with some of the warmest weather that we've seen in decades, as apparent by the 60 and 70-degree days that we've had in January. For our district, we've had a unique side effect of that. We've had neighbors through our community risk reduction program that have stepped up and decided that they want to join the ranks and call themselves firefighters. Well, that's an amazing thing. It does present us with a challenge. The biggest challenge is PPE and the associated equipment that goes along with making sure that they can execute on that mission. For this year, our plan is to use the PILT funds to provide the PPE, the tools, and the continuing education to be able to mitigate the weather that we're facing, and with luck, come out on top. So thank you for your part in making that possible.
Thank you, Chief Orbez.
And West Metro? Not here. So thank you, Commissioners. As you've heard, the money provided through this program will continue our collective goal of hitting wildfires hard, heavy, fast, while saving lives and property in Douglas County. Are there any questions I can answer?
Well, if it pleases the board, Mr. Vice Chair, I do have a couple of comments and maybe a few questions. I think, first and foremost, Thomas, few people recognize the level of certification that you and your team have, and I'm so thankful to have you presenting. And I would love to take advantage of the opportunity that we have before us today to have all of these amazing fire chiefs with us. So much of what we do right now is that focus on the number one potential threat to our community, which is the threat of wildfire. And the days that go by when people see snow on the ground or it's December or January, the average citizen is not thinking about wildfire, but you are. And I am, and we are, and that is our charge. I mean, the Marshall Fire was December 30th. Wasn't during the hot months, but we're having, like you said, these really wildly dry moments across our landscape. So, you've heard me say many times when we go out to DC and talk to Department of the Interior, Forest Service, they pull up those maps, and the hottest, brightest, reddest are right here, and also California. So, from a national, state, and local perspective, we have to have a laser focus on this issue. So thank you for always just being so proactive, so on top of all of these issues. I also often say it's the good news we'll never hear about, right? All of these fires that you and your teams have heroically put out, each could have been catastrophic. I mean, it's a tinderbox out there. So tremendous thanks on behalf of the 400,000 we represent for keeping everybody here safe. Like I said, I want to take advantage of the opportunity. First, I would love to personally invite all of you to participate with us on our Wildfire Action Collaborative. And if you're not looped in and connected, we would love to see you at our meetings and just to speak into any issues that may be significant, particularly in the rural communities, because we want to support you any way we can. But second, I think for Thomas and maybe for the amazing director, Mike Alexander, can you walk us through a hypothetical? I mean, we talked about tinderbox. Between what we have as a county with the Helitack team and our emergency management and what's happening in the rural communities, okay, you have the beginning of a Hayman fire. Walk us through what that looks like for you guys.
And I think that's one of the things that we have that leads to strong professional relationships within our firefighting community. All of these gentlemen have amazing programs that we come in and support, and the end result is we catch a lot of fires small. Now, the chances of having a large fire that is going to affect our county is fairly high. We live in that environment, but the idea is we want to catch them small and we want to catch them fast. And having professional firefighters that are available to initial attack these fires the way we do is a fantastic resource for our community. Other communities don't have this. They'll wait multiple hours to get resources on scene. And with how our departments dispatch, get on scene quickly, they have fantastic tools in their toolbox, and then we add our piece to that puzzle. We have a fantastic group of professionals that does a great job. Now, one of these days we are going to have a large fire and we're going to have extreme conditions with winds, but we're going to do our best to represent the folks within our community, whether that's evacuations on the initial attack, It's just really going to depend on what we're ending up with that scenario, but we're going to do our best with that situation every time for the citizens of Douglas County.
Okay, so who's responding first and how fast is that response right now?
Literally all of us are. We have,
Just,
all of
yeah.
these departments are responding with ground resources, and we're responding with a helicopter, we're responding with additional overhead, and with where we're at with this community of firefighters, everybody's paying attention to what everybody else is doing, so additional resources are always available to us. It's not just a one department, multiple departments are responding or are ready to respond and help out as needed, which is a fantastic resource for our community.
Yeah. Well, we can only do so much with a helicopter and high winds, right? So we're working with the energy companies. That's frustrating for citizens, but we know that that's a component. Trains are a component. High winds make it really tough. And we are counting on the leadership and the heroism of our rural firefighters when that helicopter can't be there on time. I guess selfishly, I'd be curious to know from our guests, is there anything that we're missing? And when you're sitting here before the board and you're thinking, man, I wish the commissioners knew X, is there anything on your minds where there's a gap that we could be doing better?
I don't know if it's a gap, but I think we just got to continue to plan that we're going to have this environment that's
Sure.
that can host a catastrophic wildfire any given day, right? Like we're seeing that in the winter months now. We just got off a couple fires in that last wind event, and it's just all year round now. So the more resources that we have to potentially deal with that, the better our chances are going to be. Again, trying to catch them small is really important. We're not always going to be able to do that. You know, on one day, we're going to have the right conditions, and we might not keep it small, but we stand a better chance with the more resources that we have to do that with.
That's a really good point. Anybody else? Oh, good.
I think the only gap that we could identify in the Larkspur community and along the 105 corridor is we do have some radio communications issues that we'd like to address. There's some dead zones through there that we've talked about trying to get towers put up and work through some of those projects. And so that would be the one communications gap to make sure that everybody's still able to communicate in an emergency. But otherwise, I think we're addressing our concerns. We have a great plan to be hitting it hard, hitting it fast, getting extra resources coming in. And I think one of the most aggressive fire agencies and organizations working together that I've been a part of. So.
Thank you so much, Chief, for that. And that will be a no. I think, if it pleases the board, I'd love to really direct staff to take a look at those holes. I mean, we've talked about that in the past. I know there were a few challenges in terms of getting that funding pulled together, but that's what we do. I mean, we go out to Congress and say, hey, use some of that congressional directed spending here on something that could have national consequences. So please don't hesitate to ask if that troubles me, frankly, that there any kind of communications gap. So thank you for bringing that up. Anything else?
I would just say our helicopter is a big piece, but one of the other fantastic resources we bring to the table is our heavy equipment team with Public Works. They're a fantastic resource. We've been getting them mobilized for fires. During the last wind event, we actually helped out a neighboring county with one of their fires, sent the dozer up with some of our overhead. We're able to ring the fire, keep it small. We brought in a second dozer to cover for that, and we had resources always available. So it's a fantastic team, and we're using it more and more, and it's been very, very effective.
So you have that now, and you feel like
We
that's
have that now.
sufficient,
That
and
is
it's
part
okay.
of our Public Works heavy equipment team. They're trained
Yeah,
up.
okay.
We have a solid training set up for them, and then we've actually been getting quite a few assignments for them. We had them out on our prescribed fire, but then we've also had some initial attack fires with them. So it's been a great resource for us.
Yeah. Well, I would love to tell the public the story from this summer because many of you were a part of it and actively coordinating. But, we hear chatter out there and we try to focus on what's the next right thing. And there's always the comment of, fire season is just the summer. And what do you need a helicopter for? And on and on. And not only was over 30 fires locally put out, 10 of which were outside of the county, which we got reimbursed for. But this summer, we saw the town of Luviers have a really significant fire caused by a train sparked up some weeds, and we know that those fires were licking up right next to structures, and that whole town had to be evacuated. And I am so thankful to all of you in the coordination that not a single life was lost, not a single structure went down. And the reason for that is your coordination and your communication, but also because we had a helicopter. And we didn't rely on a state helicopter because we couldn't. It was in disrepair in the shop at that moment. So I'm really thankful that we've continued to forge ahead and just protect our citizens that way. But thank you. I mean, if there's anything else that comes to mind, we are really all ears to you guys. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Oh, thank you. Well, I can't thank you enough. And if it seems like we're spending a good amount of time on this, it's because when I talk to my fellow commissioners about what keeps them up at night, it typically is there's a list of things, but fire is got to be number one, because as you heard from the numbers that was given to us by the chiefs today, there are very frequent fires occurring here in Douglas County, and a lot of them don't get heard about because they are caught small before they become big. But any single one of them can become big, can become a travesty, can cause life and property damage. And thank the Lord that hasn't happened. Thank you to you guys that are the reason for that. And I know as we move forward into this year that it could be one of the worst, most dangerous, driest years we've had in quite some time. And we are investing as a board more than we ever have before. There's our AI detection, which will detect smoke faster than we could do with a normal just human being parked out there in the forest. We have our Helitac team, which Commissioner Layden very eloquently spoke of, that had over 30 calls this year, put out over 30 fires, 10 of which were outside the county that could also endanger Douglas County as well. And so from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And while we are on this agenda item, is there any public comment? Seeing none, public comment is closed for this item. Any further comments, Commissioner?
No, Mr. Vice Chair. If there's no further discussion, I'm pleased to make a motion to approve a payment in lieu of taxes, PILT federal funding provided to fire protection districts, assisting in coverage of the Pike National Forest lands in Douglas County.
I will second that motion wholeheartedly. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that motion passes 2-0. That brings us to our next item. Oh, we want to have, that's right. We have all these great chiefs here. Let's get a picture, guys.
They look too good not to take a photo. You know, Commissioner, I have to say that warms my heart. George's predecessor, the late, great Roger Partridge, always used to say, heart heavy and fast. And that's really a testament to his legacy. So it's great to hear that.
Yes, certainly. And that is a point where I'm just so proud that we are investing heavily and at the same time very worried for the upcoming year. Thank you to the chiefs who joined us today, who drove a long way from many rural parts of the county, and to our emergency management team who joined us here. That brings us to our next agenda item, a public contract for services in the amount of $215,150 between Douglas County and Wheeler Lumber LLC for the construction of a bridge for the Happy Canyon Creek Trail connection. Steve Schultz presenting. Steve.
Steve in a suit, looking sharp.
Yeah, what?
We just keep promoting you. This is what happens.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you for having us here today. Today, we're here to do a contract for a portion of a larger project, but I'll kind of keep it focused on this today. Steve Schultz representing staff. We're asking today for approval of a contract for services for $215,150 between Douglas County and Wheeler Lumber LLC for construction of a bridge for the Happy Canyon Creek Trail connection. The pedestrian bridge will be fabricated off-site, then it will be trucked here. It is roughly 12 feet wide and 120 feet long. Once the project, part of the greater project is completed, South Suburban Parks and Recreation District will maintain the bridge. The reason why we're breaking it up this way is so that the warranty will be held by the county and then be able to be handed over to South Suburban Parks and Recreation District after the construction is completed, and that won't be held by the company that will eventually select to build the rest of the trail. In August of 2024, Douglas County was awarded a Strong Communities grant from the state to cover the project costs, so 100% of this project cost will be covered by the grant. The total grant amount is roughly $1.3 million. So the process that we went through, this was advertised on Rocky Mountain e-purchasing with an invitation to bid in December. Douglas County received 3 bids, and we are actually going with the lowest qualified bidder on this project, which is Wheeler LLC. So here is a proximity map. As you can see, it sits on Havana, just south of Ridgegate Parkway, just adjacent to the RTD station, and it will sit north of Tall Tales Ranch once constructed. This trail will then connect into an existing Happy Canyon Creek Trail and eventually to the High Note Regional Park, providing that critical connection from the RTD for eventual event parking, and also provide access for the residents of Tall Tales Ranch to access the park down the road. Here is a construction drawing of the alignment, and you can see there how it kind of winds through. The portion to the top of your screen is actually on Parker Water and Sanitation parcel, who are granting an easement for this project. And then it kind of winds down through, crosses over the creek, and then it connects up with the currently being constructed Happy Canyon Creek Trail. Here's a rendering of the trail, kind of something that we look at for the initial design. And here's an actual picture of this version of the trail that we've used before. This is a similar bridge that we put on East-West Regional Trail. This is east of Lone Tree, and again, fabricated off-site, brought in, and then installed by the construction group. And then yet another example, this is on the west end of Bluffs along the East-West Regional Trail. So with that, staff recommendation is approval of the public contract for services for $215,150 between Douglas County and Wheeler Lumber LLC for the construction of a bridge for the Happy Canyon Creek Trail. That concludes my presentation to the board. With us today are partners on this project. Representing Tall Tales Ranch is Laura McKenna and Austin Good from the city of Lone Tree. And we're ready for any questions the board has.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. No questions. Just want to say tremendous thanks to both of our partners and obviously you, Steve, for your leadership. You continue to demonstrate excellence in your field, and this is a perfect example of an amenity that our citizens just absolutely love. It reflects our Colorado values and the ability to traverse our community in a really fun and recreational way. So thank you.
Ditto. And you said there are some other presenters.
Yes, partners here representing Tall Tales Ranch, Laura McKenna, and Austin Good from the city of Lone Tree, if the board wants to have.
Okay, well, please, Ms. McKenna, please join us.
Good afternoon. Thank you. As you know, we are building apartments for people with developmental disabilities just on west of what will be the High Note Park. Without the bridge, basically our individuals would have to walk all the way down to Ridgegate Parkway, down the sidewalk, to access what is going to be a phenomenal park. A few months ago, Austin Good actually presented the concept of the park to our ambassadors, so they're counting on this at this point, and are very, very
No pressure.
excited about it, and especially to be able to access it. So without that, it requires us to provide transportation, but the fact that it's even the trail that leads to it is on the north side versus the south side, so it doesn't come right up against our apartments. The living spaces, it comes up on the other side, is a real advantage to our individuals as well. So we wholeheartedly support this project and are excited for what it can provide for our residents. So, thank you.
Very good. And before you take off, for the listening audience, both in the room and online, could you just tell us a bit about your organization for those who may not know?
Sure. So we serve people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and we have been provided a land lease at Havana and Ridgegate Parkway, right across from the light rail station, to build 28 apartment units for up to 32 individuals with developmental disability. It will be an inclusive project. We'll have 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, a resource center, clubhouse, and eventually we'll be building a community event barn and coffee shop on site as well to provide employment as well as a shared living environment. We currently have a coffee program, so we do provide employment for 22 individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So we look forward to having a brick and mortar shop as well. So, but it's a much needed service. There's very, very limited housing for people with developmental disabilities.
Well, thank you so much, and that is so important, especially as those with developmental disabilities grow older and want to get out, want to have a job, want to live independently, or even their own parents are getting older themselves. It's just a wonderful project. Wanted you to just have a moment before the listening audience to kind of explain what it is you do. So thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you.
Mr. Good, tell us where you're from.
Yeah, thank you, commissioners. My name is Austin Good. I'm the assistant city manager with the city of Lone Tree, and we just really appreciate the county's leadership on this project. It's really going to provide an amazing connection, both for Tall Tales to come to High Note Park, which the county is also a really amazing partner on. We're excited to break ground on that soon. But also for folks that are going to visit the park to actually get to Tall Tales, they're going to have that open space available at their coffee shop and other community spaces. And so we think it's just a really great project. In addition to that, connecting all of those residents and the light rail station on the west side of the creek to the Happy Canyon Trail, which connects down to Schweiger Ranch and connects the east-west trail through the connection spur that was built there by the county down to Schweiger Ranch. And so really just a really amazing project, really great access to recreation for everyone that lives in the area, in addition to the amazing connectivity for both folks on the east and west side of the creek. So thank you for your partnership.
Thank you, and we are very excited to see High Note Park come to fruition. Okay, is there any public testimony or public comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Mr. Vice Chair.
I don't have a title. You're the vice chair.
Well, today I'm chair.
I'm just the riffraff hanging out. So, no, I do have some comments. This is my district, and I'm really thankful to see Lone Tree here, which has done such a wonderful job overall with the planning and the thoughtfulness around High Note Park, and then all of the interconnectedness we're seeing. And for Tall Tales Ranch, I mean, oh my goodness, we've had such a long history of working with the IDD community. So, you know, combining our objectives with recreation and the developmental disabilities community is incredibly exciting. So I feel zero pressure in terms of wanting to support this community. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
There is. Mr. Vice Chair, if it pleases the board, I'd like to make a motion to approve a public contract for services in the amount of $215,150 between Douglas County and Wheeler Lumber LLC for the construction of a bridge for the Happy Canyon Creek Trail connection.
And I will second that motion. And again, this is a grant from the state that's going to very good use for the people of Douglas County. And my thanks to the hard work of the staff, the team that brought this big grant in, and the connections both with Tall Tales Ranch and the city of Lone Tree. Just great partnership. So any further comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that passes 2-0. That brings us to our final item on the agenda, and just also for the next meeting, if you could check. It is a separate meeting, but the hearing item A there has been requested to be continued until February 10th. So just a community information aspect there, just in case you came for that item. That will be heard later. That brings us to the next item and the final item on our agenda of the regular meeting, which is the amendment to the 2025 Scope of Services Agreement with TESA for domestic violence safe house operations in the amount of $654,500. Steve Dodrill presenting. Steve, take it away.
Wonderful. You get a bunch of Steves this afternoon, so happy to be here. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Stephen Dodrill, representing the Department of Community Services. Before you today is a request to approve an amendment to the 2025 Scope of Services Agreement between the Board of County Commissioners and TESA for operation of the DV Safe House in the amount of $654,500 through December 31st of 2026. In March 2025, TESA was appointed as the operator of the Domestic Violence Safe House in Douglas County with the approved Scope of Service Agreement of $350,000 for that year. The shelter officially opened in August of 2025, and since then has provided critical support to our community. Since its launch, the Safe House has served 15 adults and 6 children, including 6 survivors of domestic violence, 2 survivors of sexual assault, and 7 survivors of human trafficking. In total, the program has provided 260 shelter bed nights, ensuring safety and stability for those in crisis. Under this amendment before you today, TESA will continue to operate a trauma-informed safe house program and maintain a 24/7 hotline for survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, and human trafficking. The safe house will provide shelter for individuals and families in imminent danger, offering up to 35 beds. Residents will have access to supportive services that promote safety, stability, and long-term self-reliance, along with navigation assistance for permanent housing and connection to community resources. The amendment extends the terms through December 31st, 2026, and increases funding by $304,500 to provide operation and supportive services in 2026, bringing the maximum amount of the agreement to $654,500. Funding for this agreement includes $359,500 of ARPA accrued interest funds, $135,000 of 2025 general funds, $135,000 of 2026 general funds, and $25,000 from child welfare funds. Staff recommends approval of the amendment to the 2025 Scope of Services Agreement made between the Board of County Commissioners and TESA for operation of the DV Safe House in the amount of $654,500 through December 31st, 2026. This concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to address any questions the board has. We also are privileged to have Ann Markley here, Chief Executive Officer of TESA. I believe she has provided some comments to provide and also is available for questions if the board wishes. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions before we hear from Ms. Markley?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I do have some comments, but I'm going to hold those following the presentation from Tessa. Ann is so eloquent. I know she has some great things prepared for us today.
Okay, please.
I normally don't prepare comments, but I did for today rather than just speaking off the cuff. First of all, I just wanted to extend my gratitude. Because of you, just since August, as Stephen said, and we started at the end of August when we opened, because of you, the Safe House here in Douglas County has served as a place of immediate safety for our survivors, leaving these crisis situations when very few other options exist for them. For many of those arriving that first night in our Safe House, it means uninterrupted sleep after months of being scared and not knowing what they were going to do to think beyond that moment. As Stephen said, we did serve 15 adults and 6 children, including survivors of domestic and sexual violence and human trafficking. Each person that arrives into our Safe House has different needs, but every resident is able to receive that same foundation of support and care, the confidential shelter, the advocacy, counseling, and case management, grounded in trauma-informed and survivor-impacted sources. Over the course of the year, we received over 33 referrals from law enforcement. That's been made possible through the collaboration that we have with our law enforcement. We do meet monthly, moving to quarterly with our law enforcement partners to be able to build those bonds with them. That's also through all the multidisciplinary teams that we're part of. Those referrals are coming from those community partners who knew that this resource was needed in our community and have been appreciative to you for bringing that and making that possible. Of those, we were able to safely house those families. Many referrals came directly from those law enforcement sources, but we have really been growing those individual referrals too. So word is getting out to individuals who are coming directly to us for support as well. Once they were in our shelter, most of them stayed an average of about 17 days within the shelter. That looks different depending on their circumstances. Survivors of domestic violence often need a little bit longer, whereas with our human trafficking survivors, we're transitioning them a little more quickly into longer-term programs for human trafficking, and working with programs such as Covered Colorado to be able to make those opportunities available to them. As Stephen said too, those accounted for over 260 nights of safe shelter that we were able to provide in a very short amount of time. So when we look at that from August through December and knowing what we're going to be able to do in the next year's time, it's pretty impactful what we were able to do. The outcomes really just beyond that really matter. 2/3 of our domestic violence and sexual assault survivors were able to obtain protection orders through us during that time. 86% of our human trafficking survivors were connected with law enforcement or federal partners. And 6 of our clients moved into permanent housing. The others outside of that were moved into transitional housing programs or connected with other community resources, which were able to provide that for them. We've also saw a growing need beyond the shelter. So we did receive a grant from the 23rd Judicial District Vail. Just today, we did hire our hospital advocate and our court advocate. So starting in the next 2 weeks, we will have 5 days a week at the Douglas County Courthouse. There will be a court advocate from 8 to 4 every day, providing support for permanent and temporary protection orders, as well as court accompaniment and family law support. Our advocate is going to be located at UC Health in Highlands Ranch 5 days a week as well, providing support and advocacy to our forensic nursing team there, as well as in the OBGYN department, in the surgical department, and meeting with anyone who does come into the hospital just for routine surgery that might express a desire to meet with an advocate. So that is something that we are really proud of. The county, again, has continued to see everyone in the county, the work that we're doing, the impact that we're making, and really asking us day after day to be able to grow the services that we're providing. So really, at its core, we're more than just a building anymore. It supports safety, leading to long-term change, and it's because of you. And I think back to that first meeting that we had, and I have told so many people since that time, that specifically you, Commissioner Layden, the language that you used during that meeting and your understanding of survivors in your community and what they needed has really sat with me since that moment. Understanding what trauma-informed care was and understanding what wraparound services were that our survivors in Douglas County needed. And I am forever grateful to all of you for recognizing that need, for choosing us as a partner to be here, and for walking this walk with us, because I think we're making a great impact together. So thank you.
Well, and I think one of the best decisions we ever made was to partner with you and Tessa. And, you know, we have a pretty high bar in the county. We have an amazing county manager, incredible staff. I mean, Steve and this whole team, but you fit in so incredibly. I see Jen. I mean, Jen is just amazing. But, you know, if you had told me just one child or adult were saved since we started this program, that would be enough. But, you know, 260 nights, I mean, I want to give you knuckles on that. I mean, that's what a team effort. And, you know, it's so connected to the work that we're doing, right? And not every initiative sees the work of the other initiatives, but we're running a bill on human trafficking right now. We're trying to get survivors to a place that is navigated to safety and out of the darkness and address those needs. And the darker statistic that people don't recognize is, you know, the impact to, you know, personal health care. When somebody comes off the streets, they need to have an STD check, right? And they need to make sure that they're healthy and able to move forward in their lives right when they come into that place of safety. So integrating that healthcare component from a trauma-informed lens and the safety and security that your team provides, that's why we're here. I mean, that just wakes me up every day. That's the kind of good work that we're here to accomplish. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you so much.
Yes, Ann, thank you so much. You put it so well. It's more than just a building. It's so much. It's about human beings that we in Douglas County, we don't always think about it, but we do have victims of human trafficking going on I-25 and C-470. We do have victims of domestic violence on a regular basis and victims of sexual assault, and they need a safe place to go. There aren't very many options, and this is one of the brightest, best things I think I've accomplished here in my 1 year on the board, and thanks to those who, like Commissioner Layden and Commissioner Teal, who really had the foresight to invest in this. Not only that, the biggest chunk of these funds are actually ARPA and ARPA dollars, which was interest earned on the dollars. Most governments, what they did when they received that federal ARPA funds is they spent it right away or hired people. Those commissioners that came before me had the foresight not to do that and actually to invest that money. And with that invested money, we get projects like this, which is just the interest earned on it. And it is altogether fitting and altogether good that this should go to the safe house that we have built here in Douglas County and that we are very proud of. And we're very proud of you, so thank you. Thank you for your work and your team.
I just want to say one more thing. I tell people all the time, all over the state now, I think this is a perfect example of how government and nonprofit can work together so beautifully. So,
Indeed. Okay, is there any other public comment or testimony on this item? Seeing none, public comment is closed. That brings us back to the board. Commissioner Layden.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair, and really well-stated comments. I'm honored to make a motion to approve an amendment to the 2025 Scope of Services Agreement with TESA for domestic violence safe house operation in the amount of $654,500. And I'd love to speak in favor of the motion.
Well, I am honored to second the motion, and please proceed.
Well, I think you make a really good point. I mean, there's the heart associated with what we're doing, but then there's also the fiscal responsibility related to good governance. And when we think about those times with ARPA funds, I mean, what Commissioner Van Winkle stated is absolutely true. Other county governments spent it on debt. They had to repay themselves because they were so in the hole from overspending. And that might not be the most exciting thing to share, but the reality is because of good management, particularly by our county manager, we didn't have any debt. We didn't have anything that we had to pay off, so we could really bank those funds. And again, interest might not be sexy to people, but it makes a difference when you can allow those funds to grow. So I'm just really glad that you made that point, Commissioner Van Winkle, and we'll continue to govern that way, fiscally responsible.
Indeed, for the hardworking taxpayers. Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that passes 2-0. Well, that brings us to commissioner comments. Anything, Commissioner Layden?
I don't think I have anything ultra specific right now. Obviously, we're having a great celebration for our nation, for our state, with the anniversary here. Certainly more to come and watch for. I was born in 1976, so those 76s are a big deal for me and for everybody I know as a fifth-generation Coloradan. So stay tuned, more to come on that front.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Any other business to bring before the board today? No. Seeing none, that brings us to our county manager's report. County Manager.
Yeah, nothing today. Just would like to point out the County Manager report. There's 17 pages of updates on projects and activities, and happy to answer any questions.
Well, none from me, but I do encourage the public to read through those 17 pages. There's a lot going on in the county, and very much thank you for that. That brings us our next business meeting. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Our next business meeting will be held on Tuesday, February 10th, 2026 at 1:30 p.m. Thank you to the listening audience who came today to testify, to let your voice be heard. We are always available by phone, email, or for perhaps even just a coffee meeting if you reach out to us. So thank you so much for joining us today. We will have a short recess and then take up our next meeting, which is the land use meeting. Thank you so much. We are adjourned.